Welcome to your video on number operations. This should be pretty much review for you, but just to refresh your brain, as it's been a while since you've done math. Your I can statement is that you can identify and use basic rational number operations. All right, just a quick reminder as you're setting up your notebook before we get started on taking notes. You don't need to copy this down in your notes, but you need to make sure you're setting up your notebook correctly. So I've drawn kind of a quick sketch of what your notebook probably looks like. In the upper top here, you should have the topic, which is number operations. And I'm abbreviating, you shouldn't. You should be copying it all the way down. You should also have your I can statement listed. Okay, so you might need to go back in the video to copy those down. Those always go at the very, very top because your paper should always have that wide area for you, and that's where you're going to write it, right up at the top. Putting your name on it is always a good habit, but as long as your notebook has your name in it, you should be okay. The rest of the space, you'll need to draw with your pen or pencil, preferably pencil, about a third of the way down a line going all the way down. These are where your questions are going to go, and then in the white space over here, these are where your notes and examples go. Okay, so with that reminder, let's get started on taking notes. The first question is, what are the operation symbols? So that's going on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, you're going to draw this lovely box. You'll want to make it a decent size, so it doesn't have to be overly large. And then we're going to type in here the 4 math operations that we have, which happen to be adding, and you can abbreviate, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. And we're just going to talk about what those symbols are. Some of them are pretty easy. Adding, you're going to see the plus sign, and that's really the only symbol you're going to see. Subtracting, same thing. You're going to see a minus sign. Multiplying and dividing have a couple more to them. Multiplying, you can see the times symbol. They can also have parentheses, and that indicates multiplication. A dot and a star. All of those things will represent multiplying. Dividing is their typical division sign. Can also be a fraction bar, just a straight line, or it can be a slanted fraction bar. That also means division. All right, next question is, what are the words that describe these operations? That goes on the left side. On the right side, you're going to put a new box. This one you're going to want to have even bigger because we're going to do a lot of writing of information in these boxes. You'll want to label them again with adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Again, you can abbreviate. And then we're going to write down the words that these describe. So things that you would hear would be add, all together, in all, sum, total, increased, plus would be one, more, and more than, which I ran out of room, but write both. I have in all. Perimeter, if you're talking about a perimeter problem, that would be adding. And those types of things. Extra would be another one. For subtracting, we have some other ones that we'll use. It would be words like difference, fewer, less, and less than. Make sure you get both of those in there. I don't have as much space as you do. You also have minus, leftover, or another word that means leftover is remains. Remains is a bigger, better word, and decreased. Now, these aren't all of them, but they are a good portion of them for you to keep in mind. All right, next one. We have multiplying. Multiplying would include words like times, product, every, of, a rate, if you see the word rate, area would be a area would be a multiplying problem. Factor of would be multiplying. And things like twice or doubled or tripled, that would all be multiplying as well. And last but not least, we have division. Division words would include things like quotient, divide, per, out of, average would require division, split. It might even say equal pieces, or talking about having equal shares of things, or having to share something along those lines would be division. So these, again, aren't everything, but it is some things for you to remember. What are grouping symbols is the next question. Grouping symbols include three main categories, and those are brackets, which look like this, parentheses, which you're most familiar with, and then what we call absolute value, which you haven't learned yet, but you will, and they're basically two bars. All of these grouping symbols have a purpose. The purpose of a grouping symbol is to make sure that whatever is inside those symbols gets the attention first. So when you have PEMDAS, all three of those are the P in PEMDAS. Your turn. You will need to pause the video to answer these questions. Number one, are brackets, pictured right here, a grouping symbol, yes or no? And number two, what operation uses parentheses most? So adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Again, pause your video to answer those questions in your notes, and then turn it back on when you're done. This is the end of your video. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.